Welcome to Spectrum News at 4, coming to you live from Oyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital. My name is Ofonono Joseph. Let's take a look at the headlines. Federal government sets 30-day deadline to repair damaged Kefi flyover. PPDF hosts a one-day community engagement on environmental rights, climate justice in Ona local government area. Plus, Japan's Prime Minister Ishiba vows to stay in office despite election loss. Stay tuned for details of these and other stories in a jiffy. Glad to have you join us on the news. We begin this afternoon from the national scene, where the federal government has announced a 30-day emergency timeline to complete repairs on the damaged Kefi flyover in Nasarawa State, following the collapse of one of its beams caused by a collision with an overloaded truck. Minister of Works David Umahi, who led a team of engineers on an inspection tour of the site, disclosed that the incident occurred on Thursday, July 17, 2025, when a trailer transporting an excavator truck the flyover. A statement signed by the ministry's Director, Press and Public Relations, Mohammed Ahmed, said the impact dislodged one beam and significantly damaged two others. The incident led to the untimely death of 2 persons and 2 others were seriously injured. From the Red Chambers now, where the Senate has asked Kogi Central Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan to stay away from its proceedings, saying the suspended lawmaker cannot resume yet. In a statement, Senate spokesman Yemi Adaramodu insisted that there was no subsisting court order mandating the Senate to recall the lawmaker before the expiration of her suspension. Recall that Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan was suspended in March 2025 for violating Senate rules after a seat arrangement brawl with Senate President Godswill Akpabio, whom she accused of sexual misconduct, an allegation Akpabio denied. Recently, the suspended lawmaker, who relied on a recent judgment delivered by Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court, Abuja, vowed to resume Senate proceedings on Tuesday, July 22, 2025. However, the Senate spokesman argued that the judgment did not contain any positive or mandatory order directing the Senate to recall Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan before the end of her suspension. He urged Senator Natasha to refrain from any attempt to storm the Senate next Tuesday under a false pretext, as doing so would not only be premature but also undermine the Senate's dignity and violate due process. According to him, the Senate will, at the appropriate time, consider the advisory opinion of the court on both amending the standing orders of the Senate and her recall, and communicate the same to Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan. In another development, amid rain, some retired police officers today staged a protest at the entrance gate of the National Assembly in Abuja. The protesters are demanding their removal from the contributory pension scheme. The demonstrators, comprising elderly ex-police personnel, held placards and chanted solidarity songs as they stood in the rain, insisting that their welfare and dignity had been neglected for too long. Speaking during the protest, a retired chief superintendent of police, Minar Lawa, called on the government to exit police retirees from the pension scheme, which he described as exploitative and unjust. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has pledged to personally engage with retired police officers protesting over poor retirement benefits. From the judiciary, the Federal High Court in Abuja has declined a request by the immediate past governor of Kogi, Yahaya Bello, seeking for the release of his international passport to travel abroad for Medicare. Justice Emeka Nwite, while delivering a ruling at the resumed hearing of the alleged money laundering case preferred against Bello by the EFCC, held that the medical report attached to the application was not signed by its maker. Justice Nwite, however, held that contrary to the submission of the anti-graft agency's argument, the application was not an abuse of court process. Recall that the former governor had applied for the release of his travel document to enable him travel to the United Kingdom, UK, for medical attention. Back here, in a determined effort to address environmental challenges and promote climate justice at the grassroots level, the Peace Point Development Foundation, PPDF, in collaboration with the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, NOSDRA, has held a one-day community engagement on environmental rights and climate justice in Ikore-Bidang, a quiet oil-producing community in Ona local government area of Akwa Ibom State. Our correspondent, Esther Otoyo, who was present at the event, brings the details.
Engagement which brought together community members, youth leaders, women's groups, environmental activists, and local government stakeholders aimed to sensitize residents on their right to a clean and safe environment, equipping them with knowledge of relevant environmental laws and empowering them to speak up against environmental abuse, especially oil pollution and gas flaring, which have long plagued the region. Speaking at the event, the coordinator PPDF, an environmental justice group, Umoy Swaiko, emphasized the importance of community participation in environmental protection. He noted that while climate injustice and environmental degradation are global issues, the impact is felt more severely at the local level where oil spills, water contaminations, and land degradation threatens livelihoods, health, and food security.
The challenge of Niger Delta is so enormous that government need to declare state of emergency in Niger Delta because of diverse challenges that is facing us. If you go to Cross River State, we have a lot of forests there. Today, those forests has gone. If you come now to Niger Delta and oil-producing communities, issues of gas flaring, issues of oil pollution, what we are doing, we work with the communities. We amplify the voices of the communities. We speak your language. We don't speak the language of only government. We have just one environment, just one. By the time you allow it to go, you have gone. Your generation has gone. Your children has gone.
Delivering a presentation on Understanding Joint Investigation Visits JIV Processes, the role of the community, NOSDRA representative Akana Dongede educated residents on the agency's role in oil spill detection, response, and remediation. He explained procedures for reporting oil spills and the importance of community documentation when environmental damage occurs. Also speaking, environmental activist Ekemini Simon highlighted education, negotiations, communication, and legal advocacy, among others, as engagement tools for communities in addressing environmental injustice.
Joint investigation visit is supposed to be carried out, is going to be carried out by a team. There is a JIV, Joint Investigation Visit. The visit is to investigate the incident, okay? And this visit is supposed to be carried out by a team. Now, when the JIV now comes, it is now going to be with members of the community forming that team. Now, you have reported the spill to NOSDRA. NOSDRA will locate the spiller. You may not need to bother the company that is spilling oil in your community. All you need is give us that information and we will contact the company.
Ana mwiro enye edo kiremye monitor environment more. Anyege nyini itam the community based monitoring. For you okay mi mo minyeran kem bom keso ko zero garan. So for kem mo minyen dua me ro garan do ken dua. Once in a while a guy environment do guy get say mer na do nam so mpo. Ali aflow akaye itemwen.
Participants who actively engaged in the discussion expressed frustration over years of environmental neglect and the lack of response from oil companies. They decried the health implication of oil spills on residents and the difficulty of farming on polluted lands.
Our farmlands are being taken. Most of our farmlands are being taken by in favor of the oil company. Okay. Most of our agricultural processes they are not yielding well because of gas flaring and land degradation. So most of these things are really affecting our yield as far as and our economic and our finances as far as the village is concerned, because we are predominantly farmers here. So we are not happy about the whole situation.
In order to checkmate the reoccurrence, we need to go to round table with the company and address that issue. So that we don't have our environment polluted in one way or the other.
High points of the event were distribution of educational materials, panel discussion, inauguration of community environmental monitors, and issuance of communique. Esther Otoyo, Spectrum News.
Now to Africa, where Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki has issued a warning to neighboring Ethiopia, cautioning against the possibility of renewed conflict as tensions escalate in the Horn of Africa. Relations between the two countries have remained fragile since Eritrea gained independence from Ethiopia in 1993. According to the Eritrean government, the latest strain in ties stems from Ethiopia's renewed focus on securing access to a seaport, a long-standing strategic objective for the landlocked country. In remarks directed at Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, President Afwerki warned that Eritrea would not be easily overpowered by Ethiopia's far larger population, estimated at 130 million compared to Eritrea's 3.5 million. The Eritrean leader therefore emphasized his country's readiness to defend itself if necessary. Still in Africa, a long-awaited breeze of hope is emerging in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo after years of violence and the displacement of countless civilians. Reports say a principal agreement has been signed between the Congolese government and the M23 rebel movement, often accused of receiving support from Rwanda. The accord signed in Doha under the mediation of Qatar commits both parties to protecting civilians while fully respecting the territorial sovereignty of the DRC. The agreement includes a permanent ceasefire and bans any military attacks, aerial bombardments, or territorial advances. Meanwhile, the international community has welcomed the agreement, describing it as a significant step, while urging continued vigilance. On the foreign scene, Japan's Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba has said he has no plans to quit after ruling coalition lost its majority in the country's upper house. Reports say voters went to the polls yesterday for the tightly contested election being held at a time the coalition of the Liberal Democratic Party, LDP, and its junior partner, Komeito, disagreed over rising prices and the threat of U.S. tariffs. Speaking after the polls, the Prime Minister said he solemnly accepts the result, but his focus was on trade negotiations. Having already lost its majority in Japan's more powerful lower house last year, the defeat will undermine the coalition's influence. The ruling coalition needed 50 seats to retain control of the 248-seat upper chamber, but ended up with 47. Still on the foreign scene, Israeli forces have launched a ground and air assault on the city of Deir al-Balah in central Gaza. Reports say the Israeli operation began today as tanks and military vehicles pushed into the city under heavy artillery and air cover. Recall that Israel did not launch a ground offensive there during its 21-month war against Hamas. The area is packed with thousands of displaced people from Rafah and Khan Yunis in southern Gaza. Still to come in the news. Venus Williams to end 16-month layoff in Washington Open. Stay tuned for details of this in a moment. Many thanks for sticking with us. Now to the concluding part of our news stories. On our business news, the federal government, through the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, has partnered with key regulatory bodies and tectonics engineering consults to overhaul Nigeria's construction sector and address long-standing challenges such as structural failures, skills gaps, and regulatory inefficiencies. In a statement, the Federal Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, in partnership with top regulatory agencies, the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, the Council of Nigerian Mining Engineers and Geoscientists, the Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria, and private sector partner Tectonics Engineering Consults, signed a Memorandum of Understanding in Abuja. The Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Uche Naji, stated that the collaboration reflects the ministry's commitment to using science, technology and innovation as tools for national development. It stated that the Memorandum of Understanding sets out a comprehensive collaborative framework aimed at transforming Nigeria's construction sector. Still talking business, Naira closed the week weaker than the previous one as it depreciated by 0.14% week on week to settle at 1,532 per dollar at the Nigerian Foreign Exchange Market, NFEM. The weakening came despite the Naira rebounding to a 4-month high on the first trading day to close at 1,518 per dollar. Reports say during the past week, the highest amount that the Naira traded for was 1,538 per dollar, and the lowest was 1,515 per dollar on the NFEM. At the parallel market, the currency closed trading within the band of 1,535 per dollar and 1,544 per dollar. Talking health now, as the 21-day ultimatum issued to the federal government draws to a close on July 23, the Nigerian Medical Association (NMA) has warned it will ground medical services nationwide if the government fails to meet its demands. Its president, Professor Bala Audu, who confirmed these in an interview, noted that the association was prepared to take decisive should the government fail to respond adequately to its demands. Professor Audu stressed that the association's demands were critical to the survival of Nigeria's healthcare system and the welfare of medical professionals across the country. Recall that the NMA had on July 2 issued an ultimatum in protest against a circular from the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission on revised allowances for medical and dental officers in the Federal Public Service, which the doctors kicked against for violating prior agreements. Still in health, medical experts at the International SOS have raised an alarm over the increasing cases of non-communicable diseases (NCDs) at workplaces in Africa. In a statement titled, "The Hidden Health Crisis Threatening Africa's Workforce and Business Continuity," the International SOS said NCDs are rapidly emerging as one of the significant threats to workforce health, productivity and operational resilience across Africa. Sharing real-world data and case studies that reveal the scale and severity of the issue, it said the findings underscore the urgent need for proactive health management to safeguard a workforce well-being and business increasingly prevalent in aged between 20 and 45. Now to sport, where Manchester United forward Marcus Rashford is in Spain to complete a season-long loan move to Barcelona. United have given permission for Rashford to seal the move, which is an initial 12-month loan with an option to buy. Still in sports, Venus Williams will make her return from a 16-month layoff at this week's DC Open. The 45-year-old American overcame a serious health scare last year and after enjoying a visit to Wimbledon, decided to accept a wild card into the U.S. Capital Tournament, the first hand-court tune-up for the U.S. Open. Reports say Williams will open against 23-year-old American Peyton Stearns, ranked 34th in the world. Stearns won her only WTA title last year on clay at Rabat. Meanwhile, the older sister of 23-time Grand Slam singles champion Serena Williams has not played since a first-round loss at Miami last year. On our entertainment news, TikTok star Elizabeth Amodu, popularly known as Jarvis, has confirmed her engagement to fellow content creator Habib Hamzat, known widely as Pele, putting an end to speculation about their relationship. In an interview with reporters, Jarvis revealed that Pele proposed to her, saying that although the ring does not fit her, but the commitment is real. Jarvis said she initially perceived Pele based on their online interactions, but after meeting him offline, she discovered his true personality and grew to love him. Jarvis also stressed that their online reality is genuine and that they are not faking their relationship for content. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 4. I am Ofonona Joseph. Do enjoy the rest of your day.